Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Discussing Digital. Today, I'm discussing digital with Steve O'Neill of SON Development. Hi, Steve. Could you start off by giving us a little bit of an overview of what SON Development does?
Hi, Rob. Do you know what? That is always a difficult question. And we when we do networking stuff and people say, what do you do? It's really quite hard because SON Development is it's become a hybrid, really, of all the things that I've done in my career. So my career has been primarily operational management and leadership, learning and development, and a bit of audio stuff as well, which I'll come on to in a minute. So SON Development kind of covers those three areas. So primarily it's about skills development. So I deliver training, workshops for organizations, teams, individuals, mainly on subjects that I've either had success with or have a lot of experience of. So it's leadership, management, coaching, sales, service, all those sorts of things. And then so that's the kind of the one strand. The second strand is I work as a learning consultant. So I spend time with organizations, talking with them about their learning and development success. And I either run workshops for them or I give them advice on train the trainer, embedding, all that kind of stuff. And then the third weird part of it is the audio side, because I got into I actually started off as a professional voiceover artist, and that was 11 years ago. And I did it for a year and a half. I've got my own sound booth just there. And I learned about voiceover work and then got into kind of tended to specialize in e-learning because that's the area that I knew. And then went from there to doing a podcast. And my podcast now has been going since 2017. And that's kind of morphed into everything from podcast production to, again, audio consultant. I was on the phone yesterday to someone talking about their audio on their videos and how they can make their audio better and that kind of stuff. And also podcast production as well. So I not only have my own podcast, I produce podcasts for other people. And there's a very loose connection between the kind of the learning stuff and the audio stuff, because a lot of it is for podcasting or e-learning. But yeah, they're the three strands: skills development, training consultant, audio. Try and say that in 60 seconds in a network meeting.
Yeah, I think you may have failed.
Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last time.
Yeah. And it's been quite interesting to maybe explore and come to talk about digital marketing as we go through this, how you find different ways of marketing those different aspects of your business. So we'll ask you so obviously you mentioned podcasting there, and I will just say that actually Steve has helped me immensely in discussing digital, the podcasting part of it, actually out into the podcasting world. And he's probably fed up with me, so he keep posting going, we're on Spotify now, and we're on Apple podcast.
No, I love it. The thing I love most is helping people get better at what they do. That's the golden thread through everything I do. And I love it when I can share something with someone that helps them get better at something, and they then go off then and have their own success. It's fantastic. So you could post about that every day and it would cheer me up.
Brilliant. That's good to know, because I will. So apart from that description, so let's talk a bit about how you do use digital marketing to actually promote your different aspects of your business. Because I know when I approached you kind of went, I don't do digital marketing. And then the next day you posted things like a video of you doing an interview with the creator of the coaching process that you do. Yeah, so there was a post on LinkedIn with a link to a really well produced 5-minute video on YouTube. So I kind of went, liar, pants are on fire. You do digital marketing.
Well, it's funny because you're talking to you, and by the way, this is the first video podcast I've ever been on, so I've done my hair and my makeup and everything, Rob.
Better than I have.
Normally I'm just doing voice stuff, and then I'm usually pay less attention to that. But this interaction with you is kind of the first time I've realized, actually maybe I do digital marketing. I didn't think I did, but in that sort of pre-conversation chat we've had, and where you asked me to list where I am, I thought I'm putting quite a lot of different websites on this bit of paper.
Yeah, different
Actually,
websites, most social media platforms,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. So
and podcasting. So
yeah, and part of the challenges come from so essentially before I set the business up, just coming up for 3 years ago now, I had the podcast website and all of the streams that went with the podcast. So there was a website, there was a Twitter channel, there was a Facebook page, there was a YouTube channel. Then I had the voiceover side of the business. Voiceover had its own website, had its own Twitter channel, still does, had its own YouTube channel. And then when I set up the business and within SON development, I wanted to incorporate those other things. What I ended up doing was creating one website, which had different pages. So I've got a page on the website for podcasting, a page on the website for audio production, and the main page for skills development. But I thought I'll probably keep these channels live and keep them going because they've built, some of them have got 5,000-6,000 subscribers.
yeah.
So I might as well keep it live. It didn't make sense to shut them down. And actually the challenge for me is using them in a way that adds value to the audience, but doesn't take up all of my time. So I've kind of got into a bit of routine now where I'll tend to use LinkedIn and Instagram mainly for the sort of the front part of the business. When I produce podcasts of my own or other people, I'll share that on Twitter and also on Facebook. And I've recently started sharing that also on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. Because for a long time, I was producing podcasts, doing voiceover in the background of my main job. So it wasn't, it wasn't sort of front and center. It was, if you like, it was a sideline. So it's been really difficult actually kind of putting it all together and coming up with a way of promoting those different parts of the business or sharing those different parts of the business without just spamming people and talking about me all the time.
Yeah, but a lot of it is about not it is about me, but that's part of what digital marketing is about. You are actually promoting yourself, but it's a way of doing it in a way that triggers other people. So one, it helps inform what you're doing, but also gets them involved. And I think it's probably quite a good time to talk about, before we started the recording, we were talking about a LinkedIn post that you said actually is one of your most successful, where you had shared an event that you've been doing, or a training course that you've been doing, and tagged people in it. And that has actually helped change the way you do posts. So maybe we can talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, so last year I did some work with Royal Sun Alliance, who I'm actually back again with next month, doing some of the coaching work. So this is where we train trainers to deliver this coaching training within the organization, and in the early part of that, training the trainer stuff, I was taking some photos and got their marketing team's permission to share on socials, and I did a kind of compilation one. I think it was at the end of a week, where I was saying, I've worked with all these amazing people, and this is a great organization to be part of. And that is heartfelt. I don't do it in a cynical way, it's a trick or it's clever. I genuinely feel excited about spending time with the people I spend time with, and I really want to showcase them. But what seemed to happen with this particular post is that because I tagged a lot of people in it, and because I was kind of showcasing other people's success, it seemed to grow arms and legs, and they were resharing it and so on. And I thought, well, actually, maybe there's something in this. And so I tend to, particularly in my end of week review, which we've talked about before on a Saturday or Sunday, or if I'm with other people like PBE or Spark or LinkedIn Local, for me, what's important is to showcase the other people and tag them in it and share their success. And I think that then drives interaction. Whereas it was just me saying, hi, I'm Steve from SON Development. This is my business and this is what I do. And if I just did that all, and there is some of that. In fact, this week I've got a run of post where I'm just blatantly promoting the business. This is what we do at SON Development. These are the services we provide. Here's a video about it. But that tends to be in the minority. And what I've discovered is that by focusing mainly on other people and sharing and showcasing other people, it makes people feel good. And I like making people feel good. That's a key part of what I do. It showcases their success and it drives a bit of interaction. And for me, interaction is the key. You can have 5,000 connections on LinkedIn, but if you're not getting interaction and you're not interacting with real people, to me, it's just a number, and it's a bit of a waste of time, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the LinkedIn algorithm likes to see posts that do trigger interaction, because that demonstrates that what you are doing is of interest to people. So there's one level is the the whole way you like, love, and all that, and sort of congratulate and celebrate and that sort of thing on LinkedIn. And then even more powerful is if you can get somebody to put a comment on, and then you can start a conversation. That really does help to boost things. And I did see somebody else had put a post together, one of those carousel posts on there, that was talking about how the algorithm almost gives those scores and values. And it's quite interesting, some of the stuff that it says. And it's, that when they are saying, and they've done research on it, I don't know how true it is. Actually, it's like the speed of response as well. So if somebody starts commenting on it within an hour or something like that, that helps boost it up. It's interesting. But one of the dangers is some people set up I don't know if you've seen this, where people talk about being members of pods, and a pod is like a group of people that always go and comment on each other's posts.
Oh, right. Okay. I've never heard of this.
And that can kind of, it's an interesting thing, a difference between pods. And if you're in a networking group, when everyone's like all connected, so you do often quite often connect on to people. So, pods is something that some people promote and some people go, it's frowned upon because you're like falsifying it. But in the situation that you've just described, and it's what I do as well, weekly roundup, tag people you've met that week. And then that starts that conversation. Simply things like, it was a good meeting, wasn't it? Or, nice to have a chat with you, nice to get to know what you've been doing and that kind of stuff. Yeah. I think it's really a useful way of doing it, and really powerful.
What you've said there about pods is interesting, actually, because I've been hearing a lot this week about big YouTubers, not big YouTubers who are successful, have suddenly losing loads of money because the AdSense algorithm is saying that you've got a false audience.
Yeah.
And there are some clauses in there, and it's what you've just described, actually, that actually what they say is that if you create groups of people who go on and like your thing and share it, and they're not genuinely interacting with it, they're just doing it to boost numbers, then we'll cut your revenue. Yeah. And apparently the AdSense thing has made a mistake, and some of these massive YouTubers have lost like 90% of their ad revenue. And that, what you've just said there actually makes sense, that I guess if you're falsifying your figures, it's understandable. And that's what all those algorithms are about, really. They're always just trying to make sure that what you see is what you want to see, and they are constantly refining it, because sometimes they are constantly people sort of trying to find ways to break it. I mean, a few years ago, we talked about sort of Google there. You mentioned YouTube, obviously Google own YouTube, but a few years ago, people realized that the way to spoof onto high rankings on Google was to have hundreds of links. Right? And it didn't really matter what the quality of those links were or the relevance of them. So people were setting up link directories just to boost their posts. And Google realized that, because they could see suddenly, when they were presenting a set of results, people were going to the top website and not staying there because it wasn't good quality. And so, that's what they're all about. It's trying to improve the quality. Do they always get it right? No. But are they always trying to refine it? Yes. So, yeah. And I mean, for those of us that don't actually make money from subscribers or ads, to me, it's just all vanity. I mean, I'll have a look. I can't remember how many connections I've got on Twitter. Let's have a look and see on my Sharp podcast account. at Sharp Podcast. So I've got 5,488 followers. I hardly get any interaction from people anymore because I don't interact with it anymore.
Yeah.
I'll put a podcast up, but I've kind of given up on the world of Twitter. I've almost thought about taking it down recently, but I thought, well, I'll leave it there. The content's there and so on. But I'm not active on it. So those 5,500 followers probably don't even know they're following me. But on LinkedIn, I've got probably maybe between 50 to 100 people who I regularly get interaction with and share, and you and Penny and PBE and lots of new recent additions to that as well. And for me, that's what's more important: genuine interaction with people and genuinely showcasing what people do and what we do, because the numbers don't mean anything really. I don't think.
No, I agree, and also it's interesting what you were saying there, because yes, there's nothing wrong with being on all the different platforms, and look, I could do this now. All the different sort of different ones I've got there as a kind of
here on my screen. Is it? Am I pointing to it?
No. Yeah, sort of over there, but actually we've swapped round, so you're just pointing to it's one of those wonderful things about how the different screens present. So obviously as a digital marketer, I am on all of them, but in one way or another, and TikTok's a slight lie. That's my goal this month, is to get myself up and running on TikTok. But yeah, as you say, Twitter, I've got 5,000 plus followers, but I get very little interaction. I just put stuff on there, and the truth is, it is much better to do one social media channel well than try and do all of them badly, if that makes sense. And I quite often say, certainly when people are starting out, it's better to do the one you like most, right? Because a lot of people go, certainly if you're first starting off as a business owner, you go, oh, I don't really do social media, I don't like it. And you go, well, which one do you like the best? And they might go Facebook, depending on what age you are, or Instagram. And you go, well, look, just do that, because there's hundreds of millions of users on all of them, right? And so therefore you are likely to be able to find a group of people that are your potential customers or are interested in what you're doing on any of them. Yes, there are things like, LinkedIn is much more of a business to business platform. Facebook does tend to go for, it tends to be the slightly older social media people users. Instagram is that slightly younger, and TikTok is like my grandson. But actually TikTok's growing. It's been used all over the place, so I don't want to malign it as a platform at all. But it's just do one, do it well. And like I said,
and I think that also, to me, what's important is thinking about why are you doing it, because I was never really a fan of Facebook, to be honest with you. Most of my business is to other businesses. I don't sell to individuals. I mean, I've got the Clear course coming up, which I'll be selling to individuals, so that might change things, but certainly for the last couple of years all of my clients are businesses. So LinkedIn feels like the right place to be to showcase a training organization. And it was the same with voiceover. Individuals don't commission you to do voiceovers. They're all production houses and that kind of stuff. So again, they were often businesses, and I did have a voiceover LinkedIn account. I had two separate LinkedIn accounts at one point. But I found that the common thread in everything I do, whether it's doing voiceovers, podcasts, training, or whatever, it's always thinking about who is the audience and narrowing it down to one person. And kind of, thinking, who is that one person I'm connecting with? What does that one person need to hear? And it's interesting when you do voiceover, because you might have seen me put some posts up recently with Julia, my dummy's head in the booth. But for the uninitiated, what that is when you're doing voiceovers, if we're talking like you and I are talking now, it sounds natural because I'm talking to a human being. If there isn't a human being in front of me and I'm reading from a script, it's actually quite hard to make that feel natural if you're not talking to another human being. And bizarrely, and I stole this idea from someone else, I can't remember who, I think it was Mike Del Gaudio, the booth junkie, as a name, is have a picture of someone in front of you and talk to the picture of a person. And it's really weird because the neuroscience changes things, and suddenly your conversation becomes conversational, and that's why Julia's head's there. But it's the same with training. It's the same with all of my posts. I want to think about who is the one person that's seeing this and what message am I trying to get across to them.
Yeah, and that, I tell you what, that's a really good tip, to have a dummy or something like that. And it's brought back memories. I did some training with quite a famous coach, a guy called Peter Thompson. And when I signed up for doing stuff with him, part of his starter kit that he sent you was one of those kind of artist dummies, so those wooden model things. And he said, put that on your desk and talk to that. Now I haven't got that, but actually I do have. So my granddaughter made me a little Lego model, right, of me. So it's me with shades on and a baseball cap. That's what I always wear when we're out and about. And that does sit on my desk. So yeah, I can talk to my little Lego model. So yeah, but it does work. It does switch your mindset from talking to a camera or a microphone to actually you're talking to something.
It does.
Yeah. Okay. I'm quite conscious of time.
Really bizarre.
Of where we're at. A couple of things I wanted to talk about, a little bit more about your podcasting, because obviously you did help me tremendously. And also you did kind of show me. Did you say you had something like 35 different microphones?
18.
18. All right. Yeah.
Actual microphones.
It's quite a significant number.
Yeah. I have a lot. I love audio.
Yeah, but interestingly, it is important to have the right equipment, isn't it? So maybe we can talk. Yeah, I think that'd be quite good for people to understand that it's important to have. Good
it is, and certainly from an audio perspective, every situation demands a different kind of microphone, or if you want good quality audio, a different approach. And what I've learned over the years, having gone from just having one microphone in a booth to having everything from boom mics to radio mics to condensers, dynamics, there's all sorts of different kinds of microphone. Depending on what you want to do with it, there's a different microphone for every different scenario. And one of the things that really frustrates me about, and podcasts in particular, because not so much this kind, because this is video, but audio podcasts, people that make audio podcasts don't think about their audio. Now, I fully appreciate you don't know what you don't know, but the information is out there, and you can go on YouTube, you can go, online, and you can find out about stuff. And there are some very simple, basic things people can do. Get the microphone as close to the mouth of the person that's speaking. Number one rule, if you're recording a camera that's in a distance and you're using the mic in the camera and the camera's far away, it will sound far away and it won't sound great. If you're talking into a computer and the microphone's on the screen and it's quite far away from you, it will sound far away. And the further away the microphone is from the mouth, the more it will pick up the ambience of the room noise, and that then will interfere with the quality of the audio. Now, I'm not suggesting people need to go pro audio level, but there are a simple 2 or 3 things people can have a think about that would make it better. And George Lucas said that audio is 50% of the film going experience. And if you've seen Saving Private Ryan or anything like that, you know how powerful the music endures. So I am quite passionate about audio, and I like helping people, and I like helping people, sound good, because psychologically, particularly if you're promoting a business, you want to come across as professional, and you want people to see that you're serious about what you do. And if you sound like this all the time you're talking, or there's loads of echo in the room, and that kind of subconsciously people are thinking, this doesn't feel like good quality.
Yeah. Well, let's hope the audio quality of my end's all right then.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I am conscious of time. So there are a couple of questions I always like to ask guests on this. And that is to give a tip, one tip of one good thing for people to do with their digital marketing, and one bad thing, so things they should never do that you've found out through experience. So what's your one good thing?
My one good thing, I think, is think about mixing it up. So I tend to do kind of rule of 3. I tend to do a sort of an info post about a subject that might be interesting to people. So, here's the latest article on problems with management, or talking about learning skills, or AI, or ChatGPT, or whatever it is. So one post that's kind of got something that might be interesting to your potential customers or other people. One post that's quite personal and sort of bloggy or vloggy, so it's about my world. And then one post which is just a direct transmission. This is my business and this is the service I do. So I try to mix it up. And I think mixing it up means that they're not seeing the same thing all the time. And when your posts come up in their feed, they'll find it interesting. So that's the one thing I think I do okay with.
Yeah, no, that's good. And it's a very, very good tip as well, actually. And what about that one thing? Don't do that. Just don't do it.
Probably everything else I do. I mean, I think probably from our conversation, the one thing is, don't chase numbers. Actually, if you care about people and you do stuff in a heartfelt way that genuinely wants to connect with people, if that's your mission for your social marketing, then I believe good will come out of it. Not in a sort of woo spiritual way. I mean, like literally, good will come out of it if you do stuff with good heart and good intent. If you do stuff cynically, where you just want to chase numbers and you think, I'm going to trick the algorithm and all that kind of stuff, and if that's your MO, to chase numbers and so on, to me, that's not only quite shallow, it's kind of pointless, really. And my kind of personal passion area is productivity and managing your attention and your focus, and that's what the Clear course that's coming out is all about. And an important thing is to make sure you're spending the right amount of time on something and not too much time on it. And I think if you go chasing numbers, you could end up just constantly online. And at the end of the day, we have got a life that isn't online. So so mix it up. Good thing, bad thing. Don't chase numbers and don't be cynical.
Oh, brilliant, perfect, excellent. Now we will put all the links to all your different channels and everything in the show notes.
Okay.
But if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the easiest and best way for them to do it?
So if you go to my website, sondevelopment.com, my contact details are there. There's links there from there to LinkedIn and Instagram. I'm on YouTube, so it's SON Development 111, so you can find me on there on YouTube, and you can get to all the other places via the website. But sondevelopment.com, and obviously I'm in LinkedIn, so if you just search Steve O'Neill, and as long as you avoid the baseball player and the guitarist, true story, you might find me.
Yeah, no, excellent. And saying that, I mean, I confused myself. So there's a Rob Osborne on LinkedIn who is actually a news presenter in Wales.
Wow!
And he tends to hit slightly higher. Always, if you Google Rob Osborne, he comes up first, which annoys me a little bit. Sorry, Rob. But we have actually connected on LinkedIn. And I did point just because I noticed for whatever reason that he didn't personalize his URL, so I shared with him, and it confuses me sometimes when I suddenly get Rob Osborne has liked your post. It's like, well, that's me.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's the other Rob.
I was annoyed because the musician has got steveo'neill.com, so that's why I've had to go Steve O Voice or SO in Development and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, that's
brilliant.
cool.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being guest on this episode, and I really hope everyone has found it interesting. All right. So brilliant.
Me too.
Cheers.